Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. It's the Christmas episode. Every year we do one of these, and the last several years I've done it with my guy, my best friend, Man. Zander, how you doing today?
Oh, doing well. How's everyone else?
Hopefully they're all doing good. It's funny because I'm gonna title this episode, a holly jolly NBA Christmas, because hopefully we're all in the spirit of the holidays, and it's intentional that I'm putting it there because even though this guy's not playing on Christmas, he has come back, and maybe there's a miracle coming in for the Memphis Grizzlies because Ja Morant has returned after being suspended for 25 games. Um, those 25 games felt like an eternity probably for Grizzlies fans because they're like 7-19 on the season, which has not been good. They've had not even just him being out, but like Marcus Smart's been out, Derrick Rose, Steven Adams, Brandon Clark. So they've had injuries all across the board. But I think it was comforting for the Grizzlies to see Ja not only shine, but also lead their team to a 24-point comeback against the Pelicans of all team, because Zion was drafted before him. But what are your thoughts on Ja making his return, and do you think maybe he can turn the season around and like spark some fire for the Grizzlies?
Yes, yeah. I thought his return was epic. As I mean, everyone else, if you saw it, you know that. I mean, it's just cool to come back after being suspended and basically drop it on the NBA's head, like I'm back, baby. So he's definitely went out there and put on a show. I mean, it's crazy that he got such a. I feel like his suspension was very, I guess, too long for like what he's done. I mean, compared to Draymond Green, which I don't know if we're going to get into that in this episode, but I wonder how long Draymond's going to get the boot for in total, compared to like Ja Morant. I mean, and I feel like Ja, going back to the question at hand of do you think he could turn around for the Grizzlies? I think the Grizzlies are definitely at least twice as good with Ja Morant than without him. Ja Morant's just so good. And yeah, Zion, I mean, he's drafted before. I mean, Zion was, you could think of, I almost thought of him like he was going to be another LeBron because he's so big, he's so strong. But I feel like you can't go wrong with Ja Morant either. He's been great for the Grizzlies. So he's a scoring machine. He's so athletic. It's crazy how he can get to the rim and create offense for the Grizzlies. Even on defense, he's not half bad. So yeah, I think it's definitely good for the Grizzlies. I don't think it's going to make the biggest difference in the world in terms of their championship chances in the next coming years, but they might make it. They might make it in the playoffs, and they might make it past the first round. But that's as far as I could see them going, at least in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think that's probably, and really that's kind of been where they've capped off. It's just like it feels like their GM has made a lot of mistakes, and I hope, I know a lot of people are optimistic Ja's gonna turn the season around for him, and obviously like a player like that is gonna help him out. But it's like, how much is he really going to help out when you see like they're missing guys like Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, so their front court, like their bigs, are so limited, and then you lose Dylan Brooks as well, and it's just there's just too many injuries to go around, and it feels like they've kind of like lost even a little bit of their identity. But if there's probably one person on this team that can help turn it around, is probably going to be the guy who's perceived as the superstar, and that's Ja Morant. I'm you know it should be interesting to see how this team fares over the next like 12 games, because I think that's going to make or break like if they even have a chance to make the playoffs. I think right now they're like 6 games out of the play in, which is bad. But granted, this is a team that was like top two last couple years, so even if they did lose key players, maybe they could play to the caliber of like a fifth or sixth seed, maybe sneak up, get into like that 9, 10 spot, and from there anything could happen. But I don't know. I think realistically, I don't know if it was as much that the Grizzlies came back or that the Pelicans blew it, because I've kind of been on the fence about the Pelicans as a whole this year. They kind of they show up when they want to. You know what I mean? Like they're one of those teams that's like they could beat the best team in the league, and they did do that against the Timberwolves when they had the best record, but they also could lose to a team like a depleted Grizzlies. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I said, I can't ever see them. 5th or 6th seed to me seems optimistic, but I mean, for this year, I don't know if Ja Morant's going to be able to carry them that far. Like maybe 7 or 8 is what I think, but I think they do have playoff chances. It depends on how some of the other teams in the West play, but we'll see.
I think I was thinking, like, in the back of my head, if they could have been like 9-16 by the time he came back, I think they would have had a good chance. But they were 6-19, so 3 games below that. It's going to be a little bit harder. But we'll see what happens, I guess, with the Grizzlies. But if you want, we can progress here to the next topic and talk about something that should be a really interesting debate. And I'm kind of curious what you have to say about it because, last week, literally right after I finished recording my show from last episode, we had a game with the Bucks and the Pacers, and on one end, the Bucks at home, they win the game. Giannis ends up going for a franchise record 64 points and basically, cements himself again as one of the greatest players of all time and arguably the greatest Milwaukee Bucks player of all time. But on the other hand, we had Oscar Tshiebwe, who's a rookie on the Pacers, who scored his first point at the free throw line near the end of the game. And obviously they were all both like not really so much Oscar, but more so like Pacers representatives who wanted to get the ball for him. Meanwhile, Giannis went storming into the locker room. He's like, I want the ball. And so it was just like a whole discussion. So I guess to ask you, who do you think like deserves the ball in that instance? The guy who sets the franchise record or the guy that scores his first point in the NBA?
My answer is the guy who sets the franchise record. And I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
Because, I mean, it's a home game and it's a rookie. It's a free throw. The guy hit a free throw. And I feel like only one guy can get the ball. And the guy who deserves it more, I feel like, is Giannis. I feel like that's undebatably the case. Who deserves the ball more? I feel like it's Giannis. Now, the way he acted going into the locker room and stuff, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much to say on that, but if you're going to say who deserves the ball more, I'm going to say Giannis because he scored, what was it, 64?
64. A lot of people thought he was done after 58.
How many rebounds and assists?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head how many rebounds. I think he had at least 11 or 12 or something.
Yeah, I mean,
just better stats all around than Oscar Tshiebwe.
I guess, and it's a free throw. Like, wouldn't the rookie want to keep like the ball like that? Maybe he hits like a jumper or like, something like a 3 or something. He would want to keep that ball more than the free throw. I think. I don't know.
And in the next game, he did hit a field goal. So I would have thought like that's the game you give him the ball. So, like,
but that game. And how many minutes? I mean, I don't know. How many minutes does that guy average per game?
He's only played like 3 games so far.
Exactly. Minutes has he had in each one?
Probably, I don't know off the top of my head, but less than 10.
Did he miss the other free throw?
Yeah, he missed the other free throw in that game with
So, like, who deserves the game ball more? It's Giannis.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. And see, there's a few things as well that I feel like it doesn't make sense, like, to give it to the rookie here because, one, it's like we have a franchise record versus a free throw, essentially. Right. And, honestly, I think Giannis shot better from the free throw line, and he took like 30 that night. Yeah. So that's already more impressive there. But what I do think is, like, even if he wanted the game ball, like, they do have like a secondary game ball, like every. Oh, go ahead.
The rookie who took the game ball, it was their teammate. So
yeah,
right.
It was. I think it was a Pacers rep that came and like got the ball, and then I think Giannis ran over to like Tyrese Halliburton, and he's like, "Yo, like, go tell him go get my ball," or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, if you. My biggest thing is, like, there's already like a second ball that they have like as a spare in case something happened to the original. Like, why couldn't he take that? You know, like that's the one thing. And then the other thing is like people were saying it's like that it's an unwritten rule that a rookie when they score their first points they get the game ball. So like someone brought up a good point for the Pacers because like last year Ben Mathurin and Andrew Nemhard were both rookies. It's like I think they both scored their first points in the same game. So who gets the game ball then?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said only one guy can get the ball. Who does? Or I feel like it's Giannis, but yeah. I thought it was a funny situation, but I'd like to hear people's case for the Pacers. Like you said, maybe it's tradition, but like seriously, a free throw. Like I wouldn't even want that ball if I were the rookie.
Yeah. Well, and they got blown out too. It's like it wouldn't be a good memory. I think the next game they won. Yeah. That too. Like I feel like if you're the home team and you win, you should have the say on where the ball goes, especially on a career night, right? So
yeah, French night.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you want though, we can move on here. You guys will have to let us know who deserved the ball more. But we'll have to progress here and talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers because even though they've been winning a lot lately, they've won like the last couple games. But Darius Garland, he's out for at least 4 weeks with a fractured jaw, and then Evan Mobley's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks or so, they say, with knee surgery. So losing basically what I would say are like maybe 2 of their 3 best players, but at least 2 of their best 4 players if you count Jared Allen. How big do you think this is for the Cavaliers, and like what do you think it does for them now the rest of this season? Because last year they were the 4th seed. I think right now they're like 6. Like, does this push them into a play-in spot, or you think they can still get above that?
It depends on how the other guys step up. I think that they have a chance to retain their playoff chances, at least to keep at least 7 or 8. It depends on the other teams in the East, but I think that they have a chance. Now, it sucks for those players. Well, specifically Mobley. Surgery is always a questionable thing moving forward if you're going to come back to full strength, but I think he will at least, come back and perform well for the Cavs again. And he's not going to be out for terribly too long. 6 to 8 weeks is not the end of the world. Fractured jaw, he'll be back. Garland, they're young, they'll be back. I think they may retain their playoff chances. It depends on if some of the other teams in the East, start winning a lot more games, specifically, the lower seeds. They may not have the best chance, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and they've had some guys. I mean, obviously, like a guy like Donovan Mitchell never missed the playoffs before, so having him as kind of like your leader, like that should instill some trust in Cavs fans to at least get there and have a chance.
You still have decent.
Yeah, and then adding guys like Max Strus he's had his moments so far for them this year, and even like guys that came out of the blue, like guys like Craig Porter and freaking Sam Merrill, who no one probably had any thought that they were even going to be playing on an NBA roster this year, let alone contributing. And, if they can keep contributing, obviously Donovan Mitchell, if he keeps playing the way that he has been, especially as of late, Jared Allen can kind of, take on more of the load as the defensive type of guy. I think a lot of people thought Mobley might be a defensive player of the year candidate before the year, but now that he's out, it's like it's got to be more so on Jared Allen, and there's a lot more pressure on their inside defense. So I think that they still – what were you going to say? Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just asking who was going to start instead of Mobley.
Instead of Mobley. I think they've been starting Dean Wade lately, but I could very well even see them like making an adjustment. They started like I think Isaac Okoro a couple games at the 4 like last year, like when he did miss, which was probably risky because he's smaller. But I don't know. I think that probably between those guys and obviously like their shooting ability with Strus, with Merrill, didn't even mention Karis LeVert, who can still provide a spark off the bench. So they definitely have enough. It's just going to be a matter of like everyone buying into their role. And what at least Woj is saying is that he doesn't think the Cavs are going to make he doesn't see them making like a big move. He thinks they're still bought into this core. So when Garland comes back and Mobley comes back, it'll probably be a week or 2 before the trade deadline. Do you think they should, or that they could make a trade, maybe? Or
I, I don't know if it would be for those guys. I could see them maybe getting Levert out of there.
right.
Um, but yeah, I think their young core is pretty good. Now it also depends. I don't think they're going to trade Mobley this season, but like I said, it depends on how he comes back from his injury in the future, what they do with him. But yeah, I think they've got a good unit, together all together, especially with Mitchell. He's got star power himself. He can kind of carry things on his own. He's proven before in the past. So especially with some particular high scoring days, if you know what I mean. So he can do some damage. So the team's got to watch out for that. If they really get his number, we'll see how it goes. But Mitchell definitely has the potential to carry the Cavs through on offense, anyways.
He's Mr. 71 for a reason. But yeah, I could see them making a move and maybe get that small forward position figured out, because they've had guys that have had great games and then also terrible games. So I think that might be the biggest thing. But yeah, I don't see them trading Garland or Mobley after coming back. Or I think it's
Reasonable
too
person
early.
get them trading and who has like good value. I mean, I could see like them trading like a whole bunch of players like Dean Wade and some of the other people like don't even know what their names are in exchange for maybe some picks and maybe someone half decent, but we'll see. I don't think that's going to impact their championship chances. They have no championship chances in my mind, but in the playoffs they might get. Actually, I don't see them getting past first round. In really any scenario, I think they're first round makers, and that's it.
So
if anything.
So and I mean, obviously Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, those are the top teams. But if they played, I think right now they would play Philly. But if they played like maybe New York again or Orlando, you think Cavs are losing that?
I think so. I think well, depends on how the Knicks play. Knicks, I don't know. The Knicks are pretty bad too. I feel like, well, not bad, but they have a history for not being good. I'll just say so.
I feel like it's not a hot take to say the Knicks, especially because they just beat them last year. But I don't know. I still trust that this Cavs team just has they have too much talent that they should be better than those teams. It's just a matter of if they can actually fit it together. You know what I mean?
We'll see. I like making interesting takes, and we'll see where my Hornets are in a couple of years.
You're halfway there on that championship for the Hornets.
They have a decent chance.
I don't see it happening. That dollar bill is going to be mine.
Full odds, I'll say. Survival odds of making the finals.
I don't know. But anyways, let's move on here. Let's talk about the team that Donovan Mitchell was on before Cleveland, and that is the Utah Jazz. And they are starting to listen to trade offers all around the board, and that includes players like Jordan Clarkson and even Lauri Markkanen, the former Chicago Bull. What do you, I guess, mostly with Markkanen, but even for Clarkson, what NBA teams do you think these guys can kind of go to or help out, or would you like to see go to?
Honestly, I would like to see Lauri Markkanen come back to Chicago. I feel like that would be pretty interesting. I mean, if they're going to go anywhere, I feel like Chicago's a pretty good place. Also, if he went to play with Kristaps, I think that would be interesting too.
Like with Boston.
Yeah. With all them, I think that would be an interesting fit with Tatum, Brown. That would be a pretty decent unit with the two stretch bigs. So I think that would be cool. Clarkson, I don't know. I can't really see anywhere that's like, oh, I need Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah. He would be kind of just a spark off the bench. I'm trying to think who could. Well, I guess first of all, I definitely would want Markkanen back in Chicago, especially now we see what he can be. Even though I don't get the Bulls fans that wanted to give up on him when we had him, but regardless, it would be cool to have him back. I actually think that's kind of interesting that you said the Celtics, because if they were to pair him with Porzingis. I mean, I'm sure they'd probably have to trade Al Horford or something. Maybe a bench player like a Sam Hauser or something. But yeah, another player, maybe a pick. But if they had like Markkanen at the 4 and Porzingis at the 5, like could be pretty interesting. It adds more spacing, you know.
Yeah, I think them versus it would be it's to me Celtics versus Bucks Eastern Conference Finals again this year. So I mean, with that, that gives the Celtics a really good chance to make it to the finals, I think.
Yeah, I think that might honestly put them over the hump because it's like you think about it, it's like and they got Holiday, Jaylen Brown. If they could manage to keep like their main 4, I don't know if they'd be able to keep Derek White, which might be kind of harsh because he's had a good year so far. But either way, it's like a guy like Markkanen, like those talents sometimes you make a risk for. But Jordan Clarkson, I'm still trying to like think about who would be good. Maybe honestly, like we're gonna talk about them here in a sec, but like the Suns, like maybe they could use someone who you can rely on to get a basket like off the bench. I know that they still have more issues going on, but regardless, I think that having a reliable 6 man, not like, Eric Gordon who turns into prime Eric Gordon once in a while and then turns into like just a fraud every other game. So, and the rest of those guys, I just don't know if they can get their shot like that. But yeah, what does Doobie think? Does Doobie think that the the Suns should get Jordan Clarkson?
I don't know. What do you think, Stump? Goodness, I am sorry that he's in the way, but yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting to see Clarkson go there. Trying to think. What about Brooklyn for Clarkson?
I could see that too, actually. Like that wouldn't be too bad, and especially like maybe like he could almost it would maybe be a trade like for Dinwiddie because I feel like they do a lot of the same things, but I don't know. I would probably rather have Clarkson than Dinwiddie on my team right now.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I agree. Yeah, and Durant. I mean, if you're asking what's wrong with the Phoenix Suns, I mean, I don't know if Durant's really part of it because I feel like he's doing okay.
Well, we could hop right into that if you want. We could talk about the Suns because that was what I had next on here. Like, what? So then, they're kind of right around 500. They're sitting in 10th in the West. Like, what do you think is the problem? Like obviously Beal's had these injuries. Booker's playing right now, but he's also missed some time. Like, seems like it's just been Durant.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the injuries. I feel like everyone's not at 100%. They have enough time to play together, and in actual games in the season to really get things cooking. Because I feel like Booker, Beal, and Durant have enough offensive prowess to carry them to good victories, and even defensively, I think their unit's not bad. So,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
That's all.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say too. Like, I don't know. I feel like with the Suns, like they definitely need a better center and a better point guard because they've been running Devin Booker at point guard a lot this year, and no shade toward him because I think he's done about as good as he could. It's just crazy. It just sits. Anyways, no, like with the Suns, freaking no, like Devin Booker's done well, I think, well enough for point guard spot, but like they just having him run the point guard position, he's having the ball in his hands so much of the time, and it's like guys like Kevin Durant aren't getting the ball enough. Like Durant still gets like 40-point games. He's taking like 20 shots, which is insane efficiency, but I feel like maybe he needs the ball more. I also think that maybe some of these other guys that are filler players need the ball less. Like there shouldn't be like 4 role players taking 10 shots a game. Like, you know what I mean? Like it almost feels like forced sometimes. And if you could get Devin Booker to play more off ball and maybe get a true point guard, like, I mean, I don't know. Like one of the Suns fans that I kind of talked to, his name's like Coach Evan. He was saying because the Cavs, like they haven't really used Ricky Rubio at all this year, and they said they were gonna maybe figure out a way to get rid of him, buy him out. Maybe he goes to the Suns because he used to play there, and maybe he could like be a true point guard or something. I don't know if you think that's a good idea.
That would be interesting. Rubio, I feel like I don't know. I don't think he's really. I think he's past his prime, and I don't think he's really going to provide much to, I guess, carry things. But you could also argue the experience, and like you said, they just are missing someone to distribute the ball. A good example of someone like that is Chris Paul. Chris Paul is in a whole other league than Ricky Rubio, but Chris Paul is not throwing up 40 points per game, but he's a veteran he knows how things work on the court, which is very underrated. Knowing how offense works and how to really slip past the cracks in the defense and just be a floor general is an underrated spot on a team. And I think Rubio would fit in quite nicely actually with the Suns, but I think it would be much better if he were younger. But I think he could still, provide that experience and dish the ball, get some more distribution between Booker and Durant, and really get the gears moving. And especially if Beal comes back, there's just one more guy to stretch the floor. Makes it easier for Durant to get inside, and for everyone to do their thing. So, and if, like I said, if Rubio were a little bit younger, it's easier for him to get inside. He's just quicker, and he's young. I don't know. We'll see. I think that if the Suns can get things to work, even with Booker at the one, if he could just learn how to distribute the ball a little bit better. Not that he doesn't pass ever, but he can. He just needs to, I guess, figure out how to involve people more than he does currently.
Yeah, I think someone pulled up, I think his usage rate is 12% higher than Durant or something, which that seems crazy to me because, Kevin Durant's well and above the best player on that team. He needs the ball the most, right? So, but I don't know. I think Rubio, maybe he could help. Obviously, you mentioned Chris Paul. That's the downside because they had him and they decided to flip him for, Bradley Beal. But I also think they need a center. Yusuf Nurkic is not it. He just can't move his feet at all. And Drew Eubanks off the bench is not much better, if better at all. They just need a pure center, and I feel that's maybe what they miss in Bismack Biyombo because I think he brought a lot of energy for them last couple of years really.
What about Ayton?
With Ayton, who they well, I don't know. I think them trading Ayton was a good thing, but I don't know if I feel they downgraded to get Nurkic. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Sorry.
To go with the unit that they have instead of Nurkic because he's younger than Nurkic, right? I just feel he's more athletic and he can just get more rebounds and shoot better than Nurkic can. I feel you can debate that, but that's just how I see things. He's just better than Nurkic.
Yeah, I don't know. Even that at this point would have been an upgrade, but I don't know. I guess they're gonna keep rolling with it. Frank Vogel, don't really know what's going on with him as the Suns coach. It hasn't looked pretty. But anyways, if you want though, we can move on here. Talk about the biggest reason why we're here, and that is to make some Christmas game predictions. So every year, not every year, but at least the last couple of years has been 5 games, and we're just going to kind of make our picks for the NBA Christmas. Starting off with, we got the Milwaukee Bucks visiting the New York Knicks. Dame and Giannis, and probably Chris Middleton, assuming he doesn't sit like he has a lot of games this year, going in to take on Brunson, Randall, and the Knicks. Who do you think is going to win?
I think that the Bucks are going to win. Yeah, I just think that they're too much for the Knicks team. However, I think it would be really cool to see Brunson go off again and drop maybe something 50, 60 points. That's something I could see happening, actually. Oh, my goodness. But could see Brunson going off again. But I think that the Bucks team, with how it sits, if everyone is playing the way that they can and should be playing, I don't think the Knicks have a standing chance of losing by less than 10.
Yeah, and I know Brunson just had a 50 piece against the Suns. I think he had 48 or 45, I think, against the Bucks earlier this year. So I could see him going off again. If he does, it's gonna be hard for them to beat. But I'm gonna go with the Bucks as well. But yeah, if you want next game, we got the Warriors visiting the Nuggets. Assuming there isn't a Christmas miracle, Draymond Green is not going to be there. And, obviously the Nuggets, they're getting more healthy again. Clay has looked pretty good for the Warriors as of late. And obviously we know about Steph Curry. Who do you think is going to win this?
I think this is going to be the closest one. I think that I'm going to say the Warriors. And I think that you could make a case for the Nuggets, and you can make a really good case for the Nuggets. I think that the Warriors are just going to have a good day. I feel like Christmas is usually a pretty good day for the Warriors. That's my prediction. I could be totally wrong, but this is the fun of it.
You're not wrong, because I think the Warriors last year, I think they went into Phoenix and won. I think a few years ago when they were really terrible and somehow got scheduled on Christmas, like they won against the Rockets without like Curry and Clay and almost everybody basically. So I could see that happening. I'm gonna go the other side on this one though. I'm gonna take the Nuggets. I just feel like at home, like especially on a night like Christmas, like they're gonna try and come out and bring their best. I feel like Jokic will probably go for a triple double. That almost seems like a given at this point, but yeah. Maybe what might be the biggest game of the day, at least for a lot of NBA fans. Then we got the Celtics visiting the Lakers. Iconic rivalry. Who do you have?
I think the Lakers are going to get it. I feel like the Lakers are playing pretty decent this season. I feel like they're clicking well. They won the in-season tournament. However, I feel like they've been playing worse since they won the tournament, but I think maybe that's just because they've relaxed since they won that tournament. I feel like they've proven that they can play. And I feel like LeBron and the Lakers just want to have some fun on Christmas. So, and the Celtics, again, great team. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think the Lakers are going to win by, I'm going to call at least 6 at this point. That's going to be my guess. The first game or the Warriors game, I said what? I didn't.
I think you said at least 10, or you said at least 10 for the Bucks Knicks.
Yeah, and I didn't make one Warriors, so I'll make one for that one too. I'll say that the Warriors beat the Nuggets by 3 points. I think that one's going to be a battle. I said that one's going to be the closest game, and I think the Warriors are going to win by 3. And then, I could be totally wrong, but we'll see. Lakers, like I said, I'm going to say Lakers by 6 is what I'm going to say. At least 6.
Yeah, I think I'm to follow the same trend. I'm gonna go for the first one, Bucks by 8, and the Nuggets by 5. And now for this one, I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna lean toward Boston, but I very well could see the Lakers winning this. This feels like, I feel like Boston's gonna get out to a really early lead by it's going to be like 17 or 18 points. Everyone's going to be like, it's over. Then the Lakers are going to come back. They're going to take a lead. But for some reason, I feel like the Celtics are still going to close it out. So I think the Celtics will win this by 3.
Gotcha. So. I feel like the way I think that game's going to go, I think it's going to be relatively close, within 5 or 6 points, basically the whole game. And then at the end, the Lakers are just going to have that last final swing go their way at the end of the game, and that's what's going to decide it.
Yeah, I could see that happening again. But the fourth game we got, probably not a super interesting one, at least compared to the other ones. We got the Sixers visiting the Miami Heat. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Sixers on this one. I think the Sixers have a good chance, and I think the Sixers are going to win by. I say Sixers by 8 points.
It's kind of interesting because I feel like that's one of the more separated games that you picked. I feel like it's going to be the Heat winning, and I think they're going to win by 13.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like the Heat, have Philly's number in games like this, like over the last couple years. Like, even if Philadelphia is a better team, which I believe they're a better team, and I think most people would agree at least this year, like it just feels like on a night like this, like I feel like Jimmy Butler will probably show out and he'll probably try to remind the Sixers like you paid Tobias Harris over me, like yeah,
Well, see how it goes. Yeah, I think Embiid might show out against and just maybe have a good night. I'm thinking maybe at least a 20-point night for Embiid, and like I said, by 8, I think will be the final number.
yeah, I could see that. I mean, he's been cooking lately. But and then the last game we got a playoff rematch from not this past playoffs, but the one before. We got the Dallas Mavericks visiting the Phoenix Suns. With Luca, not sure what Kyrie's status will be on that game, but possibly Luca and Kyrie visiting Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and the Suns. Who are you taking in this one?
I think that the Mavs got it. I think that the Mavs are going to take that one. Even if Kyrie doesn't play, I think that Luka alone is going to be enough to get him there. Now, it depends on how Durant plays. Durant is one of those guys that can go off for 50 points on any given day. So it's tough. But we were just talking about the Suns. If they could put it together, they definitely have a chance. But I think that on Christmas, I think that they are going to lose. I think that they are. The Suns are going to lose to the Mavs.
Yeah, I think they played last year on Christmas, and I think like Dallas was up like huge, and then I think the Suns they came back and won by like 1 point or something. So I could see a similar result. Um, I don't know. I just feel like historically the home team has always like won the last game, like or most of the time they've won the last game on Christmas. So that's kind of like a superstition I'm going by. But I also probably do believe a little bit more in like Kevin Durant to bring the Suns home than the Mavs. So I'm gonna go with the Suns by like 8 points on this. And did you pick a point spread on this one or?
Going Mavs. Mavs by 10.
Mavs by 10. Okay. So we kind of have like the same differential just on the other side. So that's interesting. So I think we got did we only pick I think the only thing we agreed on was the Bucks, right? Everything else was different. So we'll, either one of us is going to have a great day at picking games on Christmas and the other one is not. And then watch like the Knicks will probably just win just to screw us both over. But yeah, if you want though, we can move on to the mini game. Always the fun part of the show. So what we do is the NBA Fast Money mini game. So basically, how it's going to work for anyone that's new watching is my guy Zan here. I'm gonna ask him 5 NBA related questions. He's gonna have 60 seconds to answer each one. I'm gonna read off the question, and then the timer is going to go down, and he's going to have to give me an answer. If I don't specify like a current or former NBA thing, it could be like anything all time. And the other thing I was going to say is, if you like, let's say I ask you the first question, you're like, I'm not sure. You could pass, go to the second question, and then I could come back to the 5th question. If I'm taking like too long to read off the questions, I might give you a little bit additional time at the very end. But for the most part, that hasn't happened this year. So, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So let me get the timer ready. Let's see. And again, I'm going to start. As soon as I start reading it, it's going to go with the timer. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Besides Wilt Chamberlain, give me an NBA player who scored at least 70 points in a game.
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, give me an all-time great Charlotte Hornets player.
LaMelo Ball.
Okay, give me a current NBA player that was on the cover of a 2K game.
Damian Lillard.
Okay, give me an NBA player you want to back you up in a fight. All time could be.
Oh, I don't know. LeBron James.
Okay, give me an NBA team that played on Christmas last year. Last year.
Oh, the Knicks.
Okay, that's time. You got it. You got it in pretty good time, I will say. Um, okay, so we shall see how you do. So the first question you said, give me an NBA player besides Will Chamberlain who scored at least 70 points in a single NBA game. You said Donovan Mitchell, not too shabby. That got you 19 points.
Good deal.
So that was actually number 3 on the board. Number 1 was Kobe. Now he technically was 81. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then number 2 was David Robinson. So not too bad, not too bad. So you did get points there. Number 2, this one had a lot of weird answers, and a lot of them were pretty close. Give me an all-time great Charlotte Hornets player. You said LaMelo Ball. That got you 16 points, and that was the fifth. And that was the fifth answer, as well. The answers above it, I guess I should have said all the answers for the first one too. The first one, there was Kobe, David Robinson, Mitchell, David Thompson, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, and Elgin Baylor. And then for the Hornets one, Kemba was the number 1 answer. Alonzo Mourning was on there, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, LaMelo Ball, Muggsy Bogues, and Del Curry.
Really, David West wasn't on there.
David West was not on there. I think they're counting him as even though he was a Hornet, I think they were counting him as like a Pelican because it's like the New Orleans franchise. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, otherwise, I mean, if they counted both, it'd probably be like guys like Chris Paul would be on there and stuff like that. Maybe AD and stuff. But okay, so right now you got 35 points. All right. Third question. You said give me an NBA or give me a current player that was on the cover of a 2K game. There were a lot of answers for this one as well. And you said Damian Lillard. That one got you 8 points. So that puts you at 43. That was a tough one. Wait, what did you say? Sorry.
It was 21. It wasn't that long ago. People don't remember Damian Lillard as.
I think like
Kobe, MJ, and all them too. Gosh.
So the top answer was Steph Curry. I think because of 2K16, that's like one of the popular ones and stuff. Then there's LeBron, Durant, Paul George, Dame, Kyrie, Luka, D Rose, Devin Booker, and Anthony Davis.
Oh, really? Okay, so they didn't count like Kobe and MJ like as the deluxe editions.
No, it was current players. Like that was all that qualified.
That was a word.
Yeah. Okay, so still got 8 points for that. Give me an NBA player you'd want to back you up in a fight. You said LeBron. That got you 2 points.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron.
I think because people, they feel like LeBron, like the stereotype about LeBron is that he's kind of like, even though he's a big dude, he's like Mr. kind of soft guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, remember. Who's gonna say that? Remember who was it who like threw the ball accidentally and hit him in the head, and LeBron turned around?
That was Austin Rivers. Yeah.
Yeah. When you see LeBron coming at you, I wonder who would want to fight LeBron in the NBA 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Let's hear these.
So all these answers that were on here, along with LeBron, there was going from bottom to top. The rest were Steven Adams, Xavier McDaniel, Nikola Jokic, Shaq, Bill Laimbeer, Latrell Sprewell, Zach Randolph, James Johnson, Dennis Rodman, Ben Wallace, and Ron Artest was number 1.
Ron Artest. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Draymond Green. Yeah.
I'm surprised Draymond was not on there, especially considering recent events. He probably would not hold back.
Xavier McDaniel, was he in a famous fight? Because I feel like Xavier McDaniel's not a name I think of one.
Yeah, I know I think he got into it once with MJ a little bit. So I'm sure it was probably some MJ fans. And then also, I think he got into it once with like when he was teammates with Dale Ellis on the Sonics.
Okay.
But yeah. And then the final one, give me an NBA team that played on Christmas last year. You said the New York Knicks. That, my friend, got you 38 points.
Yeah, that's the most points.
That is the most points. It is tradition. The Knicks are the only team that's always played on Christmas. So that was the right move to go with the Knicks. The Lakers were number 2. Actually, all the teams that play this year were the same as last year, except the Grizzlies were playing on Christmas instead of the Heat. And honestly, if Ja was not suspended, that probably would have been the case again this year.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
overall, I mean, you did pretty solid there, especially at the end. Obviously the LeBron one was not a whole
this
lot, and the Dame one, I think the Dame one would have been higher, but if there weren't so many answers. You know what I
sure.
mean? Like I think if the question was like in the last 5 years, it probably would have got more. But yeah, overall you got 83 points. Then yeah, the next one was huge. So how do you feel?
I feel pretty good about that. I feel like the people you have on your show always do really well on stuff like this. So, and I feel like if I didn't rush, how much time did I have left?
I think you still had like 20 seconds or like 19 seconds or something.
More time to think about specifically. Well, maybe the fight one, because if I would have thought a little bit longer, I would have been like, yeah, maybe I want Shaq on my team instead of like LeBron. But I just LeBron would be funny on my team. Let's see what else. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I thought too much about the Hornets question, I would have said David West, which wouldn't have been right. So I'm glad I just thought of LaMelo and at least got some points there. So I'm not mad about that. The first one was
that was the 70-point one.
Like I should have said Kobe for that and got how many points was Kobe worth?
Kobe would have got you 33 points.
That's like twice as much points as what I said, right?
I mean, you still got 19 for Donovan Mitchell, so that's not too bad. And then David Robinson was like 22. And then, I mean, still a top 3 answer on that is pretty good. I think if you would have went, even like other guys that did it recently, like Booker and Lillard, like Mitchell was like the highest of those 3 because I think his was probably, like his came in a win and then also like just, I think the thrill of it. Which is funny because I remember like we were literally hanging out the day that he scored 70.
And I remember like the day that Booker scored 72 because I just remember I think I was on a school bus or some sort and that happened. Interesting.
We were probably like coming from a game or going to a game or something like
I
that.
I think so actually. In high school, that's crazy.
But yeah,
what the hell? Devin Booker scored 70 points.
Then they dropped that card of him on 2K, and now it's like one of the craziest cards.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, you definitely clutched up there, especially with that Knicks one. Ended up getting 83 points. That's not too bad. I don't think that's the lowest score, so that's definitely good news. Somewhere in the middle. So, yeah.
Good deal. Awesome. I'm happy with it.
For sure. But again, appreciate you and Doobie for making a special appearance on the show. Yeah, again, hope you guys enjoyed at home. Thank you guys for watching. You got any other final thoughts for this Christmas special?
I think everyone should take care. Have a Merry Christmas. Watch some basketball. Maybe play some 2K if you're into that. Spend time with your family and friends. And again, have a Merry Christmas, everybody. It was a pleasure.
Yes, sir. And I'll have his stuff down below. You can check out my guy Zan. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and yeah, I think that's gonna do it. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.